Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing a review on these Rival RFX Guerrero pound for pound edition sparring gloves. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so today we're doing a close-up weigh-in and review on these Rival RFX Guerrero 16-ounce sparring gloves, which are the P4P, or also known as the pound for pound editions, which are essentially the Lomachenko version of these gloves with his color schemes with the blue and yellow. Now, obviously, he ended up leaving Rival as far as being a sponsored athlete by them and is now with Venom. But they still sell these gloves and they just indicate it as being the P4P editions. Now, I'll give you guys a close-up. You know, everything here with this glove looks pretty much identical to their standard sparring gloves and very similar to their bag gloves, or the Guerrero line of bag gloves. Only real difference is going to be the color scheme and this kind of motherboard electrical circuit board design on the back of the glove, which is also very similar to the green and black Cyber Edition bag gloves I did a review on. And then you just have that P4P edition that's printed on the lower part of the wrist area. But everything else about the glove design-wise is the same. So you have kind of that conical shape. The glove starts off really wide and kind of tapers down, and you have that tapered cuff. You have the angled lace track technology. You have that blue and white embroidered Rival logo. This is RFX Guerrero Sparring in the yellow. Has that logo. This is Rival, pretty much standard. This is a sparring glove. So I'd say it has in between medium and firm density padding, which is perfect for sparring as well as doing training. Rotating this around, you guys can see it does have a leather attached thumb. No ventilated holes, which I thought was kind of weird. Typically you see that, but with these ones you don't. Blue piping around the thumb, white inner thumb, nice long white laces, blue stitching, like a lot of the Rival Guerrero gloves. It says handcrafted with pride. That's embroidered on the grip bar. Grip bar is medium in size. The tag right here says Rival HDEF Sparring 16 ounce, and then the inside has a nice smooth tricot liner. So I'll put them next to each other. Now, one thing I want you guys to look at, and I want to see if you guys can find the differences that I thought was a flaw with these gloves, especially at the price point that you pay. And it's right there. Now, I'm assuming the correct glove should have the stitching right here to seal off the foam in the wrist section, but the left glove doesn't have it. It's completely missing. So to me, that is a huge quality control issue, especially if you're paying a lot of money for a pair of gloves. And then also right there, you can see when they stitched it, they stitched right through the lettering on the left glove, and the right glove, it's done properly. So again, to me, that's definitely a QC issue. But the big one is going to be right there. So I don't know if that's by design, but to me, that doesn't look right. Yeah, to show you the right glove. I mean, the rest of the stitching is pretty solid, symmetrical. You don't see too much pulling from the leather. You know, everything else looks pretty good, but that's definitely a big issue to me, especially for how expensive these gloves are. So let's go ahead and put these on the scale. See how true they are to weight, being 16 ounces. Start off with the right glove. The right glove is right at 16 ounces, perfect. And the left glove is, including the laces, exactly at 16 ounces. So that's perfect. These gloves are perfectly on weight, which is awesome to see. So let's go ahead and do the review. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on these Rival RFX Guerrero P4P edition sparring gloves. Got mine in 16 ounces. You can also get it in 14. It's a sparring glove, so it only comes in lace-up. Currently does not come in Velcro, and it is considered a limited edition glove, so it only comes in this one color scheme, which is this royal blue with yellow. Now, this is essentially the Lomachenko edition glove when he was still sponsored by Rival, and then he made the jump over to be sponsored by Venom. But Rival ended up keeping this glove because I'm sure it's really popular with a lot of their customers. Maintain that Lomachenko colorway that he usually wears, which is that royal blue and yellow, and they just called it the P4P edition. It also has some unique designs that's very similar to their black and green Cyber Edition bag gloves that has kind of that circuitry look with the little lines and little dots that kind of replicates like a motherboard or something like that. So you have those designs into it. Now design-wise, I actually did a review on these sparring gloves years ago. I had a burgundy, a black, and white pair of these sparring gloves in 14 ounces. So they're a little bit smaller since these are 16. And they're definitely super comfortable gloves. Has a conical shape to it. So I'd say that these are medium in profile. They're not overly huge, neither too compact. You can see that it's full genuine leather construction. These are made in Pakistan. The leather itself has a satin look to it. It's not super shiny, but it's not dull or matte either. And it says Rival on the back of the glove there. In white script, you have the yellow design as well. We also have the angled lace track system, double stitching, and embroidered Rival logo right here. It does say RFX Guerrero Sparring, that's embroidered in yellow at the bottom. Black piping around the cuff, about a ½ inch of padding on the back of the cuff. Flipping it around, you have about, might say, ¼ inch of padding on the inside of the wrist. It says P4P edition there. Same thing on this side that goes up to right about here, and right here on the thumb, blue piping. White inner thumb, blue leather attached thumb. It also says handcrafted with pride on kind of a smallish grip bar. Wish that was a little bit bigger, but that is embroidered as well. Double stitching throughout. Nice long white laces, and you also have that Rival patch that says name, HDEF, Sparring, 16 ounces. So there you have it. It has that kind of conical design where it starts off a little bit wider, tapers down, and kind of widens out at the bottom of the glove. Now, quality-wise, these gloves are, I'd say, leather-wise, really nice, but the stitching and the consistency between the two gloves definitely can be improved. You can see the leather itself is nice and thick. It has a really nice consistency, no issues with bubbling or any kind of cracking or inconsistencies. You can see that the logo has a little bit of bleeding if we're being nitpicky on the back of the logo right there. Stitching on the hinge point looks good. Glove is well balanced, so the weight distribution is nice. The fact that they're both on point at 16 ounces with weight is excellent as well. If you were being nitpicky, you can see that the stitching between the two lines right here is pretty crooked. You can see it gets kind of wide and then skinny and then wide and skinny again. So again, if we're just looking at it from being a perfectionist, that's kind of an issue there. The inside liner is clean. There's no actual exposed foam or anything on the inside of the liner, so that's clean. Right here on the palm, the stitching was good there. You can see some of the stitching pulling on the leather a little bit there, as well as where the attached thumb meets the leather. So that doesn't look the best, but can be improved. You can see the logo on here for the Rival logo looks good. And overall, the leather quality is pretty nice. Now, the inconsistency I wanted to show you, like I showed you guys earlier, is going to be on the right glove and the left glove. So you can see that the right glove has the double stitching here that kind of holds this wrist padding in place so it doesn't move upwards, and this one doesn't have it at all. And then also the HDEF on the cloth logo, you can see it's cut through with the stitching. So they stitched it right through that logo. And I think the issue there when you're looking at it is the spacing with the HDEF. I think they should have raised that up a little bit more like the right glove. So right there, that's a little inconsistent, but the big flaw is going to be the double stitching missing. And I don't think that was intentional. I think they just forgot to stitch this one. So to me, if you're a quality control person and you're looking at these gloves before you send them out to your customers, the first thing I would have done was I would have just looked at them just to see if there's anything I can see with the naked eye. I mean, you can go with it like a fine-tooth comb, but I mean, that to me would just kind of stick out as like a sore thumb. So the fact that these are even shipped out with that stitching missing, to me is like, what the heck? I don't get that. So that's definitely a big issue there with the quality with these gloves. Now, the comfort of the glove has always been probably the best feature of any of the Rival Guerrero gloves. And I mean, even when I had my very first pair of their sparring gloves, the Guerreros, a long time ago, that was the first thing I noticed how comfortable they are. And they still retain that. I mean, you put your hand in here, you have excellent thumb positioning, good amount of padding on the back of the thumb, no jamming at the top, no issues with piping, pinching down, because the glove has really good hand ergonomics and the wrist support feels really nice. Finger compartment, you can make a nice deep fist with it and you can feel that your finger kind of rolls. One thing I did notice is that there's almost like a little flap right here on my index finger that it feels like maybe they had excess material and they didn't trim it off. but I can definitely feel that, and it's not a huge deal, but it's, again, when you're sliding your hand in the glove, it's kind of like a first impression type deal. When you feel that in your finger, you're kind of like moving it around to try to get your finger past it. Where the right glove, I didn't feel that. I felt like it was really smooth and nice and clean. So again, a little bit of an inconsistency where my index finger sits. But other than that, you can see it's pretty well broken in. They're not like the super softest gloves you'll ever put on, like a pair of like Mexican horsehair gloves where you have that super flexibility. But for sparring gloves, you can definitely open and close your hand really nicely, and the attached thumb does a really good job of keeping that thumb inward so you don't end up poking somebody's eye out. So even if I'm fully extended with my thumb, there's really no way for me to actually poke somebody in the eye with these gloves because that attached thumb does a really nice job. So the comfort is definitely there. Now, protection and performance, these gloves perform excellent. As far as a sparring glove, you can use them for sparring, you can use them for the bag, you can use them for the mitts. It's a great multi-purpose glove. You know, if you're using it for bag, doing some bag work with them, they do a really nice job of shock absorption. You get a good amount of feedback. You know, they look nice, and that's important too, the way they look. Some of you guys might be a big fan of the color, of the blue and the yellow. Some of you guys might love the Lomachenko color scheme. Completely up to you. If I were to do this, I would probably get me like a pair of like black and blue or black and gray. That's just my personal preference, but they perform really well. And again, just to kind of show you guys the consistency of the padding. So performance wise is definitely there for a sparring glove, and really just kind of a multi-purpose glove in the gym. Cost wise, this limited edition P4P glove is $279, so 280 bucks. And to me, at that price point, there's a couple ways I look at it. One, I think it's overpriced, especially for the quality issues that I showed you guys earlier with the stitching being completely off on the two gloves. To me, that's huge, especially if you're asking people to pay 280 bucks. The other reason is there's other companies now that are coming out with their own version of the gloves that are very similar. Like you have the Phenom SG200. To me, that feels just as comfortable and performs almost identical to these gloves. I would almost venture to say they might be cousins, or somebody makes these gloves, maybe makes the Phenom gloves or whatever. Whoever makes them, they might know each other and they're making a very similar glove. With that being said, the Phenom gloves are also a little bit cheaper, and I felt that the quality on them was better. I felt like the stitching was cleaner. It just felt like an overall better package. Even after using them, I felt like the stitching was cleaner. There was just better quality control. You didn't find any inconsistencies with the gloves that I did with these rivals, especially at the price point, and they're more affordable. So that to me is kind of the big negative with these gloves, is that they're definitely more expensive. And to me, the competition has definitely caught up with Rival in terms of having a really comfortable glove. And they're kind of resting on their reputation and it being Rival, and a lot of pros are using them. But in my opinion, for 280 bucks, these are definitely overpriced. I would say that these are, you know, at max a $200 glove, at max. But again, I think you can still do better at that price point with other gloves and have a more consistent glove that's better quality than these. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Rival Guerrero sparring gloves. See you guys next time. Peace.